Today, I messed up by not knowing that the guy I like works on the same floor as me. I have a story that still makes me cringe just thinking about it. It all started when I was a 19-year-old college student navigating the ups and downs of campus life. One day, a teaching assistant for one of my classes got sick, and the university brought in a replacement to fill in for the lecture. This guy was a bit of a fumbling mess, but let me tell you, he was also incredibly cute. After class, I did a little light research and discovered he had a blog that was both wholesome and hilarious. I was smitten. He was a total nerd, and I found that so attractive. A few days later, while studying in the library, I spotted him sitting nearby. I decided to take a leap of faith and struck up a conversation. To my surprise, we ended up talking for hours. I didn't get any studying done, but it felt worth it. Fast forward to the following week, and I was working part-time in a research lab on campus. My principal investigator was on vacation, leaving me and my close friend to enjoy some quiet time in the lab. One afternoon, around 4 p.m., we decided to take a break and stepped into the hallway to munch on some snacks. The floor was practically deserted since most people were still on holiday. As we chatted about life, my friend brought up my crush, the awkward dude who guest lectured. I shared the details of our conversation in the library, and she began to probe me about his body language, asking if I thought he was into me. We joked back and forth, analyzing every little detail. Then, in a moment of unfiltered humor, I blurted out, I would even let him, if he wanted to. Just as we were laughing, I heard footsteps approaching. I turned around, and to my absolute horror, there he was. The guy I liked walked out of the open door right next to us, looking shocked. He casually told us to keep it down a bit, and then to my utter disbelief, he winked at me before retreating back inside. My friend and I exchanged wide-eyed glances, and I felt my face turn crimson. I bolted down the hallway with my friend trailing behind me, and we finally collapsed onto a bench outside. I was mortified, and my friend couldn't stop laughing as she comforted me. To make matters worse, she looked up the lab he worked in, and sure enough, he was listed just 3 doors down from ours. I had never even seen him in the hallways before. Did I think he heard everything I said? Absolutely, and his ambiguous reaction only added to my anxiety. I wanted nothing more than to dig a hole and disappear. Fast forward 2 months later, and I was still feeling the effects of that embarrassing encounter. I had avoided the lab for a while, hoping that the influx of students after winter break would somehow keep me from running into him again. As I was making toast in the break room, guess who walked in? Yep, the very same guy. My heart sank and I thought, oh no, not again. I was left wondering how I would ever face him after that cringe-worthy moment. But hey, at least he knew I liked him, right? Maybe this was my chance to turn the embarrassment into something positive. Who knows? Life is full of surprises, and sometimes they come with a side of awkwardness. Let me take you back to a time when I was blissfully unaware that the guy I liked worked on the same floor as me. It all started when I made a rather crass comment in front of him, which left me feeling like I needed to apologize. But instead of facing the music, I decided to focus on the very important task of putting peanut butter on my toast. I thought, if I keep my head down, he won't see me, right? Spoiler alert, that didn't work out as planned. Out of nowhere, he approached me with a smile and said, "Hey, my name, how was your break?" My heart raced as I awkwardly looked up and replied that it was fine. I had mostly stayed on campus, working in the lab, while he casually mentioned that he had spent a few days with his family. Thankfully, he didn't bring up my earlier comment, which was a relief. Then came the moment that turned everything around. He glanced at my lunch and asked, "Is that all you're having?" I sheepishly admitted that I was in a rush and had forgotten to pack something more substantial. That's when he dropped the bombshell. "Oh, I was going to grab something to eat at a nearby sandwich place. Do you want to come with?" I was taken aback. Was this guy really asking me out for lunch? We ended up having a fantastic time together, chatting and laughing over sandwiches. As we walked back, he made a playful remark. "So tell me, after our lunch today, how many seconds do you think I spent staring at you?" I was completely caught off guard, my jaw dropping in surprise. He chuckled and added, "It has to be longer than 6 seconds at a time, right?" "That has to mean I like you." Despite my shock, I managed to laugh and throw a witty comeback his way. Fast forward to today, and tomorrow marks our 1-month anniversary. Can you believe it? We've had a wonderful time together. And while we haven't explored every aspect of a relationship just yet, he did tell me that he appreciates my sense of humor but isn't interested in certain activities. So, it looks like I'll be keeping my butt virginity for a little while longer. All in all, despite my initial blunder, everything turned out beautifully. I managed to snag a super cute, intelligent, and kind boyfriend out of this whole ordeal. Who knew that a little peanut butter and a cringeworthy moment could lead to something so sweet? And just to clarify for those who are curious, yes, I'm a girl. Thanks for following along with my story, and here's to many more adventures ahead.
My 29F boyfriend, 27M, has been unemployed for 2 years and has never done much housework. Do I give him one final chance or just leave? I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 6 years, and I've reached a breaking point. He's been unemployed for the last 2 years, and I'm starting to wonder if I should give him one final chance or just walk away. In the past, he had a job that lasted a few years, but he was laid off, and I suspect he didn't put in much effort to keep it. Since then, he hasn't found another job. Meanwhile, I work full-time and cover most of our expenses: rent, council tax, bills, and groceries. The financial pressure has been overwhelming, to the point where I've had to take out a loan and rack up some credit card debt, hoping he would eventually find work and pay me back. On top of the financial strain, he hardly contributes to housework. Sure, he might throw a pizza in the oven or occasionally buy me a drink and cat food, but that's about it. He feeds the cats and sometimes takes out the trash, but when it comes to real cleaning, I'm left to handle it all. I've even taken a step back from housework to see if he would step up, but the house has turned into a disaster zone. When I returned from a week away, I found cat mess on the kitchen floor, left there for days. For a long time, I blamed myself, thinking I was the lazy one for not keeping things tidy. But then it hit me. It's not solely my responsibility, and he has plenty of time to help out. I've had serious conversations with him about how this situation is affecting me and our relationship. He always promises to change but never follows through. Recently, I went to view a property that excited me. It was a shared space, but it was immaculate, and the thought of having my own space felt liberating. The only downside? They don't allow pets. I love my cats, but I'm at my wit's end. I've been mentally preparing to move on, but I struggle to actually end things. Just when I thought I was ready, he surprised me by cleaning the dishes and vacuuming. It threw me off completely. Last night, when I mentioned my concerns about the housework and his unemployment, he seemed genuinely relieved to know what was bothering me. He promised he would fix things, and that he really wants a job now. He's even tackling the litter boxes, which have been a mess for far too long. But I can't shake the feeling that it's too little, too late. If he truly wanted to make changes, wouldn't he have done so by now? I'm torn between giving him one last chance and moving on to find a better living situation. I still have feelings for him, but I don't want to waste any more of my time. So here I am, wondering if I should give him one final chance, making it clear that it's the last opportunity, or if I should just leave and pursue my own happiness. And I'm not sure which way to go.
My 23F cousin, 31M, confessed stuff thoughts about me and asked me to keep it secret. I'm thinking about telling my family. I recently found myself in a situation that felt so bizarre and uncomfortable that I wasn't sure who to turn to for advice. It involves my cousin, who is 8 years older than me. We've never been particularly close, only seeing each other about once a year due to some family tensions. Our interactions usually consist of polite birthday and holiday greetings. So when he texted me out of the blue, I was taken aback. He mentioned that there was something he needed to tell me, but it had to remain a secret between us. Right away, I felt uneasy, but I tried to brush it off as my own paranoia. I was overwhelmed and didn't know how to respond. My instinct to be empathetic kicked in, and I felt sorry for him, thinking about how embarrassing it must be to confess something like that. I suggested he might want to speak to a therapist, since the topic made me incredibly uncomfortable. Unfortunately, he didn't take the hint and became a bit pushy, insisting that sharing more about his fantasies would really help him. He briefly shared one detail before I made it clear I didn't want to know anything further. He apologized, but I couldn't tell if it was genuine. Looking back, I felt a wave of disgust wash over me, realizing that I might have inadvertently played into his fantasies. This was particularly troubling because as a child, he had touched me inappropriately a few times when he was a teenager. I had worked hard to process that trauma over the years, and had reached a point where I felt somewhat neutral about him. But his recent confession brought back old wounds I thought had healed. Now I'm grappling with how to handle this situation. My primary concern is that his behavior could indicate something predatory or dangerous. I would never forgive myself if my silence allowed someone else to be hurt. I'm unsure how to approach this, given my past with him and our family ties. I've considered talking to some family members about what happened, but I'm torn about who to confide in. His mother seems like the most obvious choice, but I feel strange about snitching on him. I've also thought about reaching out to his girlfriend, but I've never met her, which complicates things further. I'm trying to find the right balance between informing others and protecting them, while also being mindful of the potential consequences for him. It's a heavy burden to carry, and I'm hoping to find clarity in this confusing situation.
My 27F
Dad, 56M, divorced my mom, 58F, for a green card marriage. I honestly don't even know where to begin. My dad, who is 56 years old, just divorced my mom, who is 58, about a week ago. He asked her for a divorce during the summer of 2025. At first, I was really happy for him because their marriage had been unhealthy for years and I wanted him to find happiness. When I asked him why he chose now to end things after 35 years together, he mentioned the recent death of his older brother. It made him realize he could spend his life unhappy, and I understood that. However, less than a month after the divorce, I noticed him texting someone with a heart emoji next to their name. I confronted him immediately, especially since we were out to lunch with my mom at the time. He confirmed that he was cheating and started defending himself, saying he wasn't happy and that it just kinda happened. I expressed my concerns about him dating someone who was willing to be with a married man and suggested he might want to spend some time single or consider therapy. He brushed me off, insisting, "I'm a lot older now, I know what I'm doing." Fast forward to last night, I received a call from my dad while driving, asking if I wanted to come over and meet his fiancée. I panicked and had to pull off the road. When he told me her name, I immediately recognized it. About 2 years ago, he started a new job and mentioned being worried about one of his employees, a 40-year-old woman from Venezuela, who was at risk of deportation due to the current administration. She was here on a work visa, trying to create a better life for her sons. To clarify, while I was upset about the situation, I didn't hold any animosity toward her. My frustration was directed at my dad. I put on a brave face, took an Atarax to calm my nerves, and brought a small gift as a peace offering before heading to his apartment, where she was moving in. Once there, my dad excitedly shared their love story, detailing how he pursued her, divorced my mom to be with her, and bought her an engagement ring just a week after the divorce because he didn't want to wait. He expressed his worries about her potentially having to leave the country and how he didn't want to miss his chance at a relationship with her. When I asked him what her favorite flowers were, he didn't know. He also doesn't speak any Spanish. He kept going on about how kind and understanding she is and how he has the best thing right in front of him, so why should he wait? She chimed in, saying he's such a good leader at work that people admire him. I couldn't help but think about how inappropriate it was for a manager to start a relationship with a direct report. His fiancée told me she wished we could have met under different circumstances and that she really wanted to make my dad happy. I reassured her that she didn't need to prove anything to me. I managed to keep it together during the visit, but once I got home, I broke down and confided in my girlfriend, who did her best to console me. Now I'm left wondering if there's any chance this relationship is genuine, or if my dad is just going through a midlife crisis. Am I justified in thinking he's making a huge mistake? How can I express my concerns to him in a way that he'll actually listen? It's been a whirlwind, and I'm still trying to process everything.